Why Hatha Yoga? I keep getting asked this question, and so here's why I think. Hatha Yoga belongs to Raja Yoga. We got to understand first the traditional classifications of yoga. So if you're a person who's intellectually inclined, then Jnana Yoga is your journey, inquiry. Now this suits very few people to be a pure Jnana Yogi. If rather you're an emotionally inclined person, faith is your journey, Bhakti Yoga. This also suits fewer people in today's times. And then we have people who are service oriented, who like to work in the external world, Karma Yoga. For the vast majority of people today, they're exploring what we call as Kriya Yoga or Raja Yoga, where you're working with energy. So whatever you see in the modern yoga studio is some form of Raja Yoga. So whether it's a Ashtanga or a Vinyasa, whatever it may be, whether it's movement, whether it's stillness, it falls within the entire gamut of Hatha Yoga. A Hatha, it means a certain tenacity, a certain will, a certain stubbornness to accomplish something. To accomplish what? To accomplish a rising of energy from the very base right up to Agnya Chakra. The scope of Raja Yoga is to go all the way, but Raja Yoga requires a Hatha Yoga practice. Let's understand this. Hatha means a combination of the sun and moon. So this coming together of the sun and moon within us brings about a transcendence. Now we have two important nadis or flows or nadis. One of them is Pingala, which ends up here, and one is Ida. As I'm speaking, what you can do is you can put your hand here and check which nostril is open for you currently. Alternate rhinitis means that at any given point of time, you're predominantly breathing from one nostril. What is the significance of this? And this shifts every 60 to 90 minutes. If you're currently breathing from the left nostril, the Ida Nadi is active. You're attuned for intellectual energy. And if you're currently breathing from the right nostril, the Pingala Nadi is active and you're attuned for Prana or physical energy. The balance of these two constitutes the science of Hatha Yoga. Hatha also means a balance of the masculine and the feminine. Not man and woman in that sense, but the masculine and feminine qualities, the extroversion, the introversion, the yang and the yin. So Hatha Yoga doesn't mean just physical asanas. It means a lot more, an entire philosophy to attune you to bring together prana and mind. Now, there's a fundamental difference between Hatha Yoga and Raja Yoga, even though it's part of Raja Yoga. The fundamental difference is simply this. In Raja Yoga, we have yamas, niyamas, that's a basic ethical code. And after that comes the training in asana, pranayama, pratyahar, dharan, dhyan, samadhi. In Hatha Yoga, and this was around 2,500 years ago when Patanjali codified the Yoga Sutras. He's also at the same time of the Buddha codifying the Buddhist canon and Mahavira, of course, with the Jain canon. Samkhya philosophy. So all of this is happening around the same time in India, about 2,500 years ago. And there's a lot of focus in Buddhism, in yoga, on morality. Once the mind has been conditioned, then the asana practice begins. Now, what does this conditioning of the mind mean? Certain things like ahimsa, non-violence, brahmacharya, non-obsession with sex, satya, life of truth, saucha, cleanliness. Once these things have been accomplished by a person, then asana training begins. The problem with this is that 1,000 years later, there was a revival in Hatha Yoga, and they said that all this is fine, but you need to have some physical training first, because it's much easier to work with the body. It's a more honest mechanism. If you try working first with the mind, it can keep on deceiving us. So therefore, they said, let's keep this aside, yama, niyama. Let's begin with asana, pranayama, pratyahar. In due course, the mind will get disciplined to ahimsa, aparigraha. I hope you're appreciating this difference, because in classical yoga, you first disciplined your conduct, which means you're disciplining your mind, and then you start working with the body, breath, and eventually coming back to the mind. In Hatha Yoga, we don't try to discipline the mind first. Now, this is very important because a lot of the times you find people trying to control one part of the mind with another part of the mind. In January, on the 1st, everybody takes a resolution. One part of my mind tells me I want to change the other part of my mind. It doesn't usually last. So in Hatha Yoga, we keep the mind at bay and we rather work on prana. Now, when I spoke about her and ter, the pingala represents prana, the ida represents manas or mind. Now, if I want to work on the mind, I can either go directly, like in Raja Yoga, or like in Hatha Yoga, I can still the prana. So I work very hard on stilling the prana so that the mind gets still. So yoga, chitta, vritti, nirodha, the cessation of mental patterns happens by stilling the prana. It's very important to understand. There should be no confusion. If you're approaching Hatha Yoga, you've got to work with these 4 categories of work. The first is Shatkriyas, 6 Shatkriya or karmas practices. These are cleansing practices. The next is Asana, Pranayama, Mudras Bandhas, and then we come to something called Nada. The Shatkriyas are 6 cleansing practices, and these are Neti, putting water through one nostril, Jalaneti, or a thread through the nose and mouth, Neti, Kapalbhati, cleaning the nostrils, Tratak, cleaning the eyes by gazing at light or fire or the sun, and then you've got Dhoti, putting a cloth inside and taking it out to clean the alimentary canal. You can also do Kunjal Kriya, Noli, moving the intestines, and we also have something that we know as Basti, which is colon cleansing. So the idea is that once the body is kept clean, then the practice of asana, then stillness begins. In classical Hatha Yoga, there are 84 asanas supposedly taught by Shiva as Adi Yogi. Of these 84 asanas, 4 are important. The first one is Siddha Asana. You put one leg at the perineum between genital and anal space, and the other heel is above that. And you're sitting like this. The second one, for a woman, this is called Siddha Yoni Asana. Now, what does it mean to be Asan Siddh? It means that whichever posture you have chosen in these 84, and predominantly it will be one of this or Padmasana, you should be able to sit for 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 32 minutes. When that happens to you, a certain alignment, a certain possibility opens up where everything, all knowledge is available once you're able to be Asan Siddh. So either Siddhasana, the second important one is Padmasana. So you can choose either that or Padmasana for your meditation practice. The beauty of Hatha Yoga is the posture creates a certain amount of mental thought process so that meditativeness happens to you. The third important asana is Simha Garjan, the roar of a lion. Your hands are here, tongue is out. Now this is a very important, very beautiful asana. Even if you don't make the noise, just putting the tongue out has a certain impact. And the fourth asana, so Siddhasana, Padmasana, Simhasana, and the fourth one, Bhadrasana. Yeah? You choose either Siddhasana or Padmasana and you train it every day till you reach a point where you can hold this comfortably for 2.5 hours, and then you see what has happened to you. Right? So that is the meaning of asana. You don't need to master all the 84 asanas. You don't need to master anything complicated, but you need to be able to do one asana and make it Asan Siddh. So whether you can split, whether you can stand on your head or no, it's good if you can, but more importantly, master one asana. That brings us to Pranayama. So Shatkriya, Asana, Pranayama. There are different kinds of Pranayama. Pranayama is also defined as Kumbhak, retaining the breath within. So when I hold the breath the mind comes to a standstill. My prana gets still, and therefore my mind becomes still. So pranayam is that stillness through the breath. There are three kinds of pranayam. The energizing ones like Bhastrika or Surya Bhed pranayam. Breathe in through the right, close nostrils, breathe out through the right. This Surya or sun nadi is being stimulated all the time. So breathe in right, close, breathe out left. Again, breathe in right, close, breathe out left. All the inhalations happening through the right. If you want to balance the two nadis, we take up nadi shodhana. You can also call it anulom vilom pranayam. Breathe in left, close, breathe out right. Breathe in right, close, breathe out left in the ratio to begin with 1:2:2. Inhale 1, retain 2, exhale 2. In 1, retain 2, exhale 2. After a few months, after a few years, you eventually take that to breathe in 1, hold 4, exhale 2, with the breath out, hold 2. In 1, 4, 2, with the breath out, 2. To begin with, just in, out, in, hold out. Later on, we can work on that. The cooling down pranayams are Brahmari. That's bumblebee breathing. And you have Ujjayi. Ujjayi is a pranayam you can do through the day. You can do it also through your asana practice. You can do it when you're walking through the day, and it really calms down the system. Then we have Shitkari, and then exhale through the nose. You can do Shitli by rolling up your tongue. So like this, you have three different categories of pranayam, essentially training you to be able to retain or hold your breath. Kumbhak. That brings us to mudras and bandhas. Mu, happiness, dra, to draw. So mudras are certain gestures, psychic gestures. So when I hold my hands like this, the energy that's being dissipated gets channelized and I retain that energy. So this is called a chin mudra or dhyana mudra. It's called as jnana mudra, knowledge, chin, consciousness. The main mudras are with the tongue. So you can have mudras of the hand, now full body mudras. The way you hold your posture becomes a mudra. And you can have even mudras of just the eyes. The main mudras are with the tongue, roll the tongue up, Kechri mudra, and close the eyes and focus your eyes on the eyebrow center, and that is known as Shambhavi mudra. In some traditional texts, the bandhas are part of the mudras, or it can be categorized slightly differently. Now this is very important to understand. In Hatha Yoga, we are trying to bring the prana that's going up and the apana that's going down to come together at samana. This might be a little technical, but over a course of time, we'll study and understand all of this. Prana is the sub-prana that is focused with breath, it goes up. Apana is focused with excretion, it goes down. Samana is digestion. So what we do in bandha is this. Either blow out and pull up the perineum. So you block, you don't let apana go down. That's mool bandh or udiyan bandh. Pull in the stomach. You're focusing your Manipura chakra or samana vayu. Or breathe in. Jalandhar bandh. You're not allowing prana to go up. If you combine the three, it's called Mahabandh. Perineum up, stomach in, chin lock. Mahabandh is a very, very important practice in Hatha Yoga. Now you have done Shatkriyas, you've cleansed the body, you've worked on the body, you've trained the body so you can sit in one asana. You have worked on the breathing so you can hold the breath inside. That's known as Kumbhaka or Pranayam. And then you have worked on certain mudras, eye, tongue, and bandha. So now the energy is being used in this part of the body. There's certain sort of transcendence possible. The last aspect that I would like to focus is nada. So you come to a point where you begin to hear an internal sound when the body is so healthy and vitality is there, when the mind is so calm and silence and stillness is there, you begin to hear an internal nada or sound. Now this is very important because you have to understand that we don't use any guided meditation in Hatha Yoga. We are not interested in what the mind is doing. We are focused on what is happening in Hatha Yoga practice. You're sitting absolutely still. So this constitutes a Hatha Yoga experience. Over the next few days, experiment with all these practices, and you'll find that there's a complete change, a complete vibrancy in the way you are as a person. This is the real gift of Hatha Yoga. It opens the possibilities for you to explore the heights of Raja Yoga.